Good afternoon and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports Media. I'm your host, Gunter, right along with Robert Simpson. We're kind of speeding things up a little bit tonight. Derek Putnam, he's going to be joining us from Sick the Mag, and I'll tell you what, his schedule is jam-packed right now with testing beginning tomorrow at Gainesville and the event kicking off on Monday. But before we get into that, we have a few commercials, and we'll be right back after this.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit. We'll protect it.
With more than 30 years of engine and drivetrain experience, Big Stuff is your one-stop total power management solution. Whether you're controlling a 600 horsepower street car and want the best drivability, or have a 6,000 horsepower race car, need the most bulletproof, reliable control hardware, Big Stuff can do it all. All of our components are designed and manufactured right here in the USA, including our computers, wiring harnesses, touchscreen displays, and more. Nothing is built offshore, and we take pride in being one of the only automotive aftermarket manufacturers that can say this. Learn more at BigStuff3EFI.com or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
Derek, I want to thank you for joining us. We're kind of speeding things up a little bit because I know you have a really busy schedule. Starting off tomorrow with testing at Gainesville, and then Monday's the big day that y'all kick off Sick Week. And I tell you, this event, it just keeps on growing and growing, and more people get interested. And I want to say, last time we talked, I think everything sold out in 31 seconds or something like that. I mean, it was quick.
Yeah, the competitor spots for this thing has literally just taken fire. Not only that, but when we put Sick Summer, which is our event that we do in June in the Midwest, that sold out in less than 2 minutes. And then Sick Michigan Miles that we just started doing last year sold out in less than 5 minutes. So it's insane when you look at how much Drag and Drive is growing. Right now, there's 47 events already scheduled for 2026. And my guess is we'll probably see another 3 to half a dozen this year. Obviously not by us. We do 5 in-house. So
right. Yeah, I tell you what, it has really sparked a lot of interest, and in a lot of these things, you go to them, you're not winning big money. It's about bragging rights that you are able to drive your vehicle the whole entire distance, make every checkpoint, and be very competitive at the end of the whole event.
Well, I can't sit here and say that bragging rights is definitely not a part of it. I mean, that definitely is there. I mean, let's be honest. Even when we went to the racetracks in our early days, it was I'm going to line up with a buddy of mine and see if I can beat him, or I'm going to try to run quicker than them. But I feel like the main reason that this format works so well for so many competitors is drag racing in itself, especially when you look at how competitive it's gotten, and we all know this, as far as the competition level keeps rising, people keep getting better, reaction times keep getting better, cars get more refined. I feel like this is a step back in time to why did we do this in the first place? Let's go out to the racetrack and have fun in its simplest nature. We're not going to worry about how much money we're racing for. We're not going to worry about whose car is necessarily the quickest, because that's a small percentage. It is all about having fun with friends of yours that you may only see once or twice a year, and being able to drive your cars around like we all used to do back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s before it became all about silver and white Econo boxes that got 30 to 40 miles per gallon.
That's a good description right there, Derek. It really, really is. And like Mitchell said, thank you for coming on tonight, because I mean, your schedule is just insane. And I tell you, I want to know, how many events do you announce through the year? Do you have an idea? Because every time I'm listening to you, from World Cup to every other thing, bragging rights, everything in between,
Texas
you're on the
2K,
mic.
Yeah,
Texas 2K, you're on the mic.
It's getting a little crazy. I'm very thankful for all the opportunities that I get. Last year it was 23, and I have a feeling that that's probably going to be about the threshold that I can get to, because some of those 23 are all week. I have not done World Cup yet. I will tell you that is where I commonly get confused with Fabian Brown, who has done that for 5 years.
Okay.
Fabian and I constantly get confused for each other. So, but in addition to last year, I did six sick events. I have to sit there and pronunciate them differently. Imagine saying sick 66 a whole bunch of times. You're tongue tied.
No.
So, but I did 6 events for them last year, and then you consider that 4 of those are a week long or longer, and then I also did Texas 2K, which is an entire week. It's technically 6 days, but I'm there for a week. So it's gotten to the point where thankfully I have a very understanding wife and son, and because working for Tom and doing what I do when I'm not announcing, which is keeping their website up, writing stories, trying to help out with promotion stuff and so forth, that enables me to work from home. So I'm able to see my kid a whole lot more than if I worked an 8 to 5 job that I had to commute to. So, unfortunately last year, as we've discussed amongst us, it sacrificed me being able to race for the first time in my life since I've had a driver's license, but that was a conscious choice. And I feel like this year, hopefully I can get back out there a little bit, but it's not something I'm overly pursuing. I'm having a real good time announcing, because you still get to experience the rush. You still get to see the action. It is still a lot of fun.
Well, I know announcers, they all have different styles, and I really admire your style when you announce stuff, because not only do you announce, the people racing and break down the increments and all of that, but you also tell a little bit about the history of different cars that are actually rare to people to see, or people who won championships that may not know it.
Well, I feel like every racer, it doesn't matter how fast you are or how long you've been doing it, everybody has a story to tell. And honestly, that's one of those things that could get somebody interested in stuff. And I remember going to Moroso Motorsports Park and Miami Hollywood and Bradenton and Orlando. One of the guys that I always used to listen to at the first 3 tracks that I named was Bob Moles. He's retired now, but Bob always used to say, like, the husband and wife's name if the wife was always there. He would talk about, like, he won by 4 thousandths or 004 on your Mickey Mouse watch or something like that. It made it more interesting. Those are the kind of things that I feel like, even though there's nothing wrong with what James Thompson and I call screen readers, where you're basically just putting the digits out there, but there are times where if you break it up or you add something to it, it does really make it to where people can get a little bit more interested in stuff. And the best example I could give of that is the first time I ever did Six Summer, there was a guy who had joined us to watch as a spectator for the first day, and he joined us for the second day. And he basically said, because you told a story about a guy who was racing his high school car and he was running in the 12s and, how he had it all these years and what it had in it for an engine and so forth. He said, that's the kind of thing that made me realize I can do more with my car than just test and tune it. And now that guy's attended 3 of our events and a couple others. So if I can do even the smallest little bit for the drag racing community and leave it a little bit better because of how much it's meant to my life and how many friends and how many great memories I've made from it, then that is what kind of pushes me to do what I do. So I feel like it just takes a little bit of extra effort. If you take the time and you pay attention to what people are doing, those are the kind of things that you can talk about. And not everybody enjoys it, but you're probably going to get more attention than you would if you just did the bare minimum.
Agreed. Because the way that you and others share, like you said, the racer's story, but also potentially about their background, about their job, about their business, other people are hearing this. and you're helping to promote them and to build them up in a way that other people might not do. And just like you said, we completely agree. Everybody has a story. I mean, you got a wonderful story, and that was going to be my next question is, did you ever expect, and I think I know the answer to this already, did you ever expect when this opportunity arose for you to work for Tom and do what you're doing, that it would blossom to where it is now?
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay,
I couldn't say no just because
I know
how you led up to it.
I know it.
No, I had no idea, and I think I've talked about this before, so I apologize if I have. But the only reason that I'm announcing is because when Mike Urich was the general manager of Gainesville Raceway, probably for about 3 or 4 months, they were looking for somebody to help Rick Bader fill in.
Right.
And like I said, I kept seeing it pop up on my social media feed because that was one of the things I did for my previous job. And I was like, I feel bad because this is the kind of thing where they need somebody. And I didn't go to test and tunes very often. So went in and talked to him, and he goes, yeah, he says, Rick decided he wanted to stay and do the bracket stuff so that wouldn't affect your racing. So I just started doing test and tunes. And before I knew it, I got a chance to announce an NMRA, National Mustang Racers Association race the later part of that year. Right. And then Victor Alvarez at Bradenton gave me a chance to announce FL2K the next year. So, no, I honestly could not have predicted this. I mean, I feel like there are people that you could watch work their way up the ladder. Like Brian Loans is a perfect example. Steve Evans and Dave McClellan are both perfect examples. Mm-hmm. If you look at their backgrounds of what they've done and how it's led them to where they are, that they all took very different paths than I did. They started younger. They had more experience. They were able to really kind of refine and reflect their craft. I'm basically speaking from memory with a lot of this stuff. So my history with cars is what I leaned on the most, being able to reflect on what I had seen at Florida tracks for the better part of 3 decades and being able to talk about, okay, well, this is a Camaro. This is the first year they made them. There were 602 examples of this model or something like that. Those are the kind of things that I've had people tell me, hey, I never knew that. That's a great thing. It breaks up the monotony of talking about the same thing constantly for a half an hour. Hey, there's another 7-second pass. As crazy as this might sound, you need to break that stuff up. You need to be able to say, this is why this guy's car ran what it did, or this is something unique about that car. Even though a 7.0 pass in a street car is freaking impressive. So.
It's insane. It's insane when you actually just stop and think about it.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, like I said, I knew the answer. We already talked about that before. I kind of knew your answer because you didn't.
Right.
You didn't expect it
No.
to the extent that you do. But the effort that you put in really shows. And everything from, like I said, Sick the Mag itself to announcing.
And you're doing a national events too.
Yep.
You've done a couple of those.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to pinch me on that.
Well, it was
just even being in the tower, not even calling a Top Fuel run, but just being in the tower where I can physically see Loans doing it with Tony Pendergon on the the TV feed in one room, and then watching Jason Galvin calling it with any number of people in the actual main control tower is just insane. I never would have thought I would be there. That's one of those, just stick me in there for 5 minutes and I'm good, right. Or the fact that I got to stand in between 4 top fuelers and have them do burnouts at ZMAX. That's the kind of stuff where you go, okay, as far as I'm concerned, I can go now. I have done way done. More than I think my life should have let me do.
I agree with that. But also, I mean, like you said, you've announced from the stage lanes. You've announced from your car. You've cut the mic off when you put your helmet on.
Yeah, I did that once.
You did that. I mean, you were buttoned up in the car calling cars to the lanes. So I'm like, well, where is he at? And I looked around and I said, I'll be doggone, he's in it. So you've been there, done that.
It's still not as good as Ryan Gleghorn calling a lap from inside his car as he drops a guy at the finish line during World Foot Brake Challenge. But
yes,
I will gladly take somewhere in the bottom 20s. But yes,
he did that against Glenn. That was against Glenn from home with the RX-7. It was against Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was wrong. But but that was still good. But I tell you, so I want to know, man. When do y'all set your schedule for the following year? I mean, do you set it like in October? I mean, because
no, it's done by then.
That's what I mean.
It's gotten to the point where, like, well, I guess there's a couple different ways you can look at that. SICK has gotten to the point where when I initially started working with him, it was to work as a fill-in for loans in 2022. So I never, like we talked about earlier, I never expected to be doing this as a full-time profession, let alone being hired by Tom just to, work an event, let alone the whole thing. So when we started, it was one event, and then the second year we did 3, and then, like I said, we've gradually ramped up. So much work goes into that to where you have to try to start putting stuff together almost immediately, because the issue that we face, or a drag and drive in general, more than say 3 or 4 days faces, is you've got multiple tracks to work with. You've got to try to get on everybody's schedule. You got to make sure that you're not going to bump into something, especially when you look at your Sunday's winner, Willie Highhouse, or excuse me, Bill Highhouse. Yep. We need to keep the illusion in play. We called him Bill, and it worked. But yeah, I mean, it's like you really honestly have to start working on stuff a lot harder now, because Florida, in my opinion, is getting back to what it was in the 80s and 90s, especially in the bracket and the heads-up scene, because now you've got the triple races for the World Series with the Winter Series and Drag Illustrated. You've got all the bracket races that are happening in October, November, December. So it's getting to where, and combine all that with the Gator Nationals being the beginning of the NHRA season and the professional testing that they do, there's very few dates that we can do. Like, we've been trying to get on Gainesville's schedule for a couple of years to be the host track. Right. And it's nothing against NHRA. It's nothing against Jody. It's that there's a lot of other pieces in play when you look at that. We might be big in a sense when you look at drag and drive, but when you look at drag racing as a whole, it's completely different. So, so yeah, I would say that 9 times out of 10, we probably have most of our dates for the following year ironed out and close by July, August, because we actually sold Sick Week tickets for this year in September. I believe it was on the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. And the only one that we have left for this year that we haven't sold yet is for 666, and they go on sale a week after we end Sick Week. So we're selling those in February, and the event itself is at the end of September. I mean, a lot of these places still do it where it's a month or two out. And when you think about it, that's a lot of work to get accomplished in a month or two when you start putting together racer packets and schedules and run orders and cruise directions and all of that stuff that you have to do. Take what you would look at for a race at one track and then multiply it by however many days or however many racetracks you're going to. And that's the amount of work that has to go into it.
Right. Yeah, and then doesn't Tom actually drive the route beforehand as well? So you got to think of that aspect of it as well. I mean, they're just not going out there and saying, hey, we're going to do this route right here. He actually drives it and checks out the road condition, make sure everything's going to be good for these cars to go through. Check out and see when construction's being done in certain areas.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that.
Yeah, so I've got a good story on that front. I don't think I've told either one of you this before. So I don't have any photos. I do have a video that I took. So when we did an event in May last year called Sick on the Green, it's going to be a really cool deal. This year, we're getting together with Braggin' Rights, who does an event at Rockingham in April, and I announced for them too, and Streetcar Takeover, which has been around as a series for over a decade. So a couple of big players in the market, and we're all going into an event together where we all pick 2 to 4 classes each. We get 100 racer entries each, and that's what we're going to do. So we take care of that little section, our own rules, our own racers, our own payouts. But we bring everything together, so you have a little bit of everything kind of like in this big pot together. Well, when we went and did it last year, when it was a different setup, the editor of the magazine, Luke, and I drove up because he's here in Florida. So we drove to Bowling Green because it's not that far different from flying.
Right.
So we did exactly what you just talked about. We pre-ran the route for Six Smokies because we were like, okay, well, we're going to be up there. Granted, it's May, but let's drive and see what we find. Well, if we wouldn't have driven it, we wouldn't have found English Mountain Raceway, which is a little podunk 8th mile no prep track in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Well, if we wouldn't have driven it, we also wouldn't have run into a friggin' eroded 2-lane road with no warning. So we're driving along on this 2-lane road, and I can't remember where. I'm guessing we were in Tennessee or Alabama somewhere. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we come to a road out, and it's like, okay. And because Luke has taken the time to put these things together, where without trying to get too technical, the problem you run into when you're doing a drag and drive is you can't use something like Google Maps or MapQuest or stuff like that, because the problem is it automatically tries to adjust it to give you the quickest way to get between 2 points. Well, that's going to totally screw what you're trying to accomplish. So what Luke does is he puts it into a thing called Ride with GPS. It's really more of a bicyclist's app, but it allows you to do it where it has turn by turn, but it doesn't warn you as much as, say, like Google Maps would or something. Right. So anyway, point is, we're looking at this. I have Google Maps up. He has Ride with GPS up, so we can look at both of them. We hit this thing, and it's like, okay, so now what do? We look at Google Maps, and the route around it was 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be something else. So he starts digging into his phone, and he says, oh, well, there's another way we can go where we go down this way, blah, 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 blah. It'll only take a half an hour. So I'm like, okay. So we turn around, we go back up this road, and then about a mile up the road, we hang a left, and we get on a dirt road, and we start going into a forest. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a back road, and that's fine, but, whatever. We're rolling along. We get probably, 3-4 miles in, and then there's a 90-degree turn, and there's a freaking river. And it's not a river ultra deep, but it's still a river. And it's like, okay. And I said, so what are we supposed to do? And he goes, come on, you work for SICK the magazine. It's for the effing adventure. Let's just do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And famously, I should know better by now. But when somebody takes out a phone and starts taping it, you should stop.
Valid point.
I'm driving a Subaru Outback at the time. So I'm like, okay, it's got enough ground clearance to where we should be okay. So I go through it, not barreling, but I have some speed. We get through the riverbank, which is maybe, 2 car lengths wide. It's not that bad, but I could see where the water's getting kicked up, and I'm going, this is the door sills and above. I'm like, we can't stop here. So we got to the other side. I look up and go, there's lime rock and a whole lot of steps, and no, we're not getting up that. So now I have to 3-point turn, which turned into like 8, and I walked into the water just to see how deep it was. It was above my knees. So it was like, yeah, we're not just barreling into like something small here. So
right.
So anyway, so it was funny, but that's like one of those things where there are so many drag and drives, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I'm glad you brought that up, Mitchell, because that's definitely something that we've done since the beginning. Because if you look at things just on paper, it's very easy to miss them, because every year we change the track order rotation. Mm-hmm. And Luke doesn't want to just take the quickest route from point A to point B. He wants to find some cool places to go. He wants to find some cool checkpoints, and he wants people to be able to see areas of Florida that you haven't seen. Robert, I know you've done this with us, so you know what I'm talking about. I mean, like, I've lived in Florida my whole life, and there's areas that we went to that I didn't know existed, and there's roads that we use that I didn't know existed.
Had a lot of fun doing it, and that was going to be our next thing. That SICK the Mag offers the unique experience that if you're not competing as a racer, that you can also get into SICK Ward. And if you get into SICK Ward, then you run the same route as the competitors as an option if you want to. Same route, same checkpoint, same everything, so you can experience the same thing on the road. And the first year, my father and I did it, and we absolutely enjoyed it. We ran into the same headache everybody does, same traffic in the same areas. Everybody does, but it is a lot of fun. And you're right. And I mean, last year I think they went down A1A, went down Daytona, and it varies all the time. But I don't care who you are. That drive straight back this year from South Georgia to Bradenton or reverse it, that's a long haul.
Well, that's the reason that we added a drive day this year, because after 4 years, we never really had I can't think of the right phrase to use, but we never had like a coyote holding a thing going, yikes, So, but it was a perfect storm. It was probably not exactly as cold as it's going to be this year. And obviously that's a different topic, but I'm just using it as an example. Mm-hmm. But when you know that, okay, if we try to give everybody 2 runs and everything goes smoothly, we're not leaving this racetrack until probably 11 o'clock to midnight, because it's not like, okay, I made my run, I'm putting it in a trailer and cinching it down, and 20 minutes later I'm out the gate. No, a lot of these people are changing tune-ups, they're changing tires, they're changing exhaust, they're doing all this stuff. And now they've got to drive 5 to 6 hours. And so it was the only time that we had ever done, hey, we're going to give everybody one shot. Now, before anybody, grabs a pitchfork, I've told people this. I said, hey, listen, we did not ever have the most cars at a drag and drive. Hot Rod Drag Week had done it twice before us with more people. I verified that. And they had also had it one day where, because of weather, they could only give everybody one hit. Right. True, if you're competing for a helmet, which is a big deal, I get it.
Right.
It sucks if you make a run that makes you uncompetitive or non-competitive for the rest of the week. It's happened. But, like, for example, Mike Finnegan, the year that he won Gasser for the first time in the 2019 Hot Rod Drag Week, there was a guy that had won his class a couple of times, and you can't go quicker than 850. He went 849 with an 8, which means he had to turn in a 20-second time slip, and he was effectively done for the week.
Right.
Tom crossed the center line last year, and he got a 20, so he had no chance of possibly placing anywhere. So, sometimes that happens, and I think it was a matter of us going, if we extended an entire day, then all the other things you add into the mix, but there's no short way around it. Unless you literally decide we're going to somehow break up the day into 2 pieces, which we did do the first year. When we left South Georgia on Thursday and we drove to Bradenton on Friday, we stopped in the middle, or we tried to stop at Don Garlett's. That's about the midpoint. Well, when we watched probably half the people leave and keep going. And it was like, all right, well, maybe everybody wants to keep going. We don't need to break this up. So for the next 3 years, we just made it where it was one shot. But there's no way you're going to be able to tell some dude's leaking tranny fluid when his car runs 9.0 at 148 and it looks like the run is solid, but you lose an hour and whatever amount of time it takes to clean that up. And when you've got 380 cars, you can do the math on the pairs and go, okay, that's going to take X amount of time, even if we only give them one run.
Right.
So I think it was a matter of, there's a certain point where you want people to have a good time. You don't want it to sell out as fast as we did, because there's a point where it's like, oh, that sucks. It literally becomes just a guessing game of who's going to get in and who doesn't. But we actually reduced the number of tickets we sold this year for competitors because we wanted it to be a little bit more enjoyable. We didn't want it to be that crazy, number one. And number two, we added the drive day, because when you add the drive day in, now we have the wiggle room to be able to say, let's go on the West Coast. Let's find some other places where you're not just bonsaiing it down I-75 for 5 hours.
Right.
So
that makes sense. That makes sense, because it's great to be in such such a problem where it sells out so quick. You have a waiting list. People are stacking up to get in. And it just goes to show that drag and drive events, when done well, like yours, that it continues to grow in popularity, and it's high on the wish list. I don't know if that's right, or bucket list, perhaps.
No, it's the right way to say it. And since you brought it up, let me hit this real quick before we jump topic. So you brought up Sick Ward. That is one of the things that has absolutely exploded this year. That's one of the things I'm helping to take care of. Is I'm actually helping to take care of Six Bit Show and Shine. So when we first started it, it was an all-inclusive deal where it was similar. It was almost the exact same thing as a competitor deal, except you didn't go down the racetrack. It was two people come in, you get inside parking, you get all the amenities and everything else that we give to a racer or a competitor. Well, after the second year, we had some people that contacted us, and they were like, I'm coming by myself. I don't have somebody to ride with me, or I really don't need to park inside. I'm driving a daily driver. I just want to go and experience the week with you guys. So we started looking at that. And we went, okay, well, as we expand, it's going to, or as we, do different racetracks, like perfect example, when we did Route 66, we couldn't take that many people in some of these smaller racetracks to park inside.
Right.
So it got to the point where we said, okay, well, let's do it in stages. So basically now, a Sick Ward ticket in its basic form is you get 6 days for the price of 5 if you bought it in advance. If you're buying your ticket at the gate, you're saving even more. Plus, we toss you some bonuses. We feed you at the beginning and the end of the event, and you get a T-shirt plus a windshield banner. So it's pretty easy for people to say, okay, well, if I'm going to do at least 2 or 3 days, I might as well just go ahead and buy that. So that's usually what happens. And then we added a second tier to it where if you have a show car or you have something that's modified or you got a rat rod or a classic or something cool, not a commuter car, you can park inside. I just had to turn down 30 people because we've already got 100. So and we're probably somewhere, I don't know where exactly, but I know we're north of 500 when it comes to sick board. It's insane to see how much this has changed. But what's funny is there are people, for example, if you've ever followed No Prep or you ever followed Small Tire, the Hoskinson family, Billy Hoskinson, his father Bill, and his brother Tommy, they all started Sick Week, with the exception of Billy because he did it as a competitor, but the other two actually did it as Sick Ward first. And then after they did it the first year, like you said, it was a trial run. After they did it like that, they went, oh, okay, let's add the competitor part into it. And they bought a spot for the following year. So this year, all 3 of them are competing. And Tommy's better half, Allison, is either racing her Hurricane truck that ran in the 9s last year. That's the 6-cylinder with the dual turbos. Or I think they have a backup plan because they're trying to put a cage in that or something. So
I don't know. I thought they were working on his S10, but another truck. Anyway, I lost track.
Okay, so his full size truck that he ran last year, he had some issues with, and he wanted to completely redo it. So if I remember correctly, they bought Jimmy Dale's '79 Mustang called Brown Sugar, and he is racing that. Allison is supposed to run the Hurricane powered Dodge truck that she ran in Roadkill Nights. The issue they had with that was the roll bar / cage was kind of funky, and so they wanted to redo it, but I don't know if they have enough time. So I think they were looking at a second option. I do know that the senior Hoskinson, Bill, has his Malibu. He's already down there, and he's doing the whole thing. Billy actually bought I want to say it's a 72 or 73 Camaro, and it had a 5.3 swap in it, but now it's got a real hopped up LS swap in it with new exhaust. He swapped in a 6-speed and a whole bunch of other things. So, and it's getting a cage put in it right now. So they're gonna add that in there. So all 3 of them will be competing. Actually, all 4 of them will be competing this year.
Right.
Jennifer Leachman, she wanted to ask me, have you ever thought about adding bikes into the mix?
So that's a good question. And yeah, we did actually add them for Michigan Miles and Route 66 last year. There's really not a whole lot of people that offer to do it. And I think that honestly, just looking at other drag and drives that have tried it, it's not as popular as you would think it's a great idea in theory, and I'm not opposed to it. But I think that some motorcycle people might start going, so you're telling me that I have to go 900 plus miles, or in like the case of Rocky Mountain Race Week, somewhere between 13 to 1,500 miles where you're towing a tiny little trailer or a sidecar, and that's it. There is none of the, I'll just pull over and wait out the weather, or I'll jump in something else. Well, that means you get disqualified. But yeah, we actually did it last year where we added in motorcycles and Junior Street for our Michigan Miles event and our Six Smokies event, and we will do it again this year where motorcycles and Junior Street will be available at Michigan Miles and 666 as we do Route 66.
That's good, because actually you're right. I want to say it was I don't know if it was Rocky Mountain 2.0 or whatever that had the motorcycles a couple years ago, and the guy had a Grog or a Grom. He had a
Grom, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like 62 miles an hour downhill, and he rode that whole thing from one end to the other, and he had a great time. And they just let him kind of get out there ahead of him.
So
he had a great time.
Yeah, and there are times where they actually do get a decent amount of those vehicles when you look at what comes out as far as because Rocky Mountain Race Week runs 2 events a year. They do one in June-ish, and then they usually do another one in September, October. So the first time that we ever did motorcycles, it was pretty cool because we got one of 4 different, and I want to say, I forget what the other one was, but we basically had like one of every bike, and none of them were even close to the other one. And they all came from different areas, and they all basically got together on day one and decided to cruise together. And I think we did get some photos of them for the magazine, but it was really cool to be able to see that kind of thing come together. But like I said, this is where not only did we offer it, but we offered it in advance. So you didn't even have to wait and try to wrangle a spot with everybody else. And we still did not get that many. So it's like, I don't want to sit here and say it's not popular or we will stop doing it, but we're giving it a shot. And I feel like Junior Street is kind of the same thing. It's like you can only do it at certain times of the year where it's actually going to get answered. Like, for example, when we do it at Michigan Miles, it's in August. You're going to be okay with that.
Right.
66, it's a little iffy because it's September. You might have to pull a kid out for a week. I mean, it just depends. Northern schools are a little different on their schedules. Mm-hmm. But we know that sick week, no. Kids are going to be in school. You're not probably going to get that many parents that are going to say, yeah, I'm going to yank my kid out of school for a week. So,
Right, unless it's Blake. If it's Blake, he'll.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might have some exceptions. Like Savannah High House, who's homeschooled, might be okay. So.
Right. Yeah, but that's a good thing. An
opportunity
like that.
Now, with everything kicking off Monday, and say if spectators want to come out and watch this, how much are the tickets? And where can they get those tickets?
Okay, so it's kind of a two-parter thing. So let me back up a little bit. I mean, yes, Monday is day one. That is where passes start to count. But there is technically 3 days of stuff that you can come out and watch before that. So let me break it down a little bit. So last year at South Georgia, we did 2 days of testing, and that helped out a whole bunch. So if somebody wanted to come out and watch tomorrow or Saturday, that's private testing. So it's 100 cars or less. I do believe we sold right at that 100 car mark. So, But in other words, it's not a we'll see who comes in, what have you. It's like we sold the stuff in advance. So if you wanted to come out and do a shorter day, either tomorrow or Saturday, it's $20 to get in as a spectator. You can do that either online at sickthemagazine.com. You can buy it in advance, or you can buy it at the gate. You can do it either way. Sunday starts the full tilt deal. That is where every competitor has to go through tech, has to go through registration, make sure everything on their car and on their trailer gets checked out against the entire rule listing. And then we do open testing for about 3 to 4 hours. And we usually are done by about 5 to 6 o'clock. We usually try and stop right about nighttime. Now, tickets for that are the same as they are throughout the rest of the week. It's $35 a person if you buy them at the gate. If you do it in advance, we'll knock $5 off of that for you. So if you want to save a little coin and you want to go out there, you can do it in advance. And kids 12 and under are free, so same thing. So there are times where, for me, Sundays are great. I know they don't necessarily work with every family schedule, but it's a good deal because you're going to see every single car.
Right.
No one's dropped out at that point yet. Right. And not only that, you can walk into every racer's pit area. There's no trailers around them. They're all very, it's a much smaller, compact operation. And not only that, you can go to where the tech inspection area is, and you can just walk 4 to 5 lines of cars that are all sitting in line with each other, waiting to get through, and you can look at everything all at once. So,
which is a great opportunity for someone who's interested in doing it later on, trying to get in. It gives them a heads up what kind of things are needed by the rules by watching them go through those inspections.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, there have been lots of times where I've walked through those lines, thanks to Adam Dory, who's another announcer who's done this with me for a few years. He basically told me, he said, the way that I learned about a lot of these cars, if I didn't know about them, was go walk the tech line. He said, if you saw a car that you didn't recognize, hey, what engine do you have in this? How long have you had it? Tell me an interesting story about it, yada, yada, yada. And within 5 minutes, you got some cool stuff, and you can walk to the next car. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's great because as much as I enjoy announcing, I don't get to get down there and talk with people most of the time because I'm usually one of the last people to leave a racetrack. So very rarely do I get to see the racers unless I get lucky and I bump into them in the parking lots of the hotels we're staying at, which does happen from time to time. But
Right.
So I want to ask you a little bit about some of the drivers that people might actually be able to come out and see. Is Snot Rocket going to be competing this year?
So it's really sad. I had been sworn to secrecy, but Brett actually posted today that he is not going to run Snot Rocket. The reason why And trust me, he was as disappointed as me saying this, like when we had the conversation. The reason why is twofold. One, he is pursuing the limited drag radial championship with his car this year. When More Race Chassis built that car for him last year, or I should say the year before, because I'm forgetting what year it is, they said, this is one of those things, like, we're getting really serious about building a car that a lot of people just build a drag and drive car and it doesn't get used for anything else. Well, Brett was like, no, let's build something where we could use it for other things. So he runs a whole bunch of different events. He runs a lot of 10.5-inch tire events, etc. Well, he decided, let's run the Radial Tire Association's drag radial series, which I think it's like 8 to 10 races a year. Mm-hmm. And they start in Bradenton at the Snowbirds. Well, his combination, I think it has to have a slight turbo change, and he has to run an a 295/65 tire versus a 315 or a 275 tire.
Okay.
But that's it. So, but it's also 8th mile. So when you consider that it is a Predator style / Coyote style block. It's a billet block. He has basically pushed the stock block about as far as it'll go. But the fact that this thing at the U.S. Street Nationals, what was it, last weekend, went 387 at 199, and last year at World Cup went in the 5s at 249 miles an hour is just, it's literally insane. And because of the weight that he has to carry, that car is pretty much at the same weight or really close to how he would be for a drag and drive. About the only thing he normally gets rid of is he'll get rid of the cooling system just for safety's sake, and he'll run a front-mounted fuel cell. But otherwise, everything else is the same. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what, that is a sharp-looking and well-built car for sure.
So it's that, and Cletus not competing this year are two really kind of hard blows. But I mean, again, when you look at the rationale and why neither one of them are coming. So Brett is actually going to be on the week. Like, he's actually running co-pilot in Motion Raceworks' single turbo Mustang called El Toro, and Blaine Stark is going to run that car. And they have publicly stated they are going to reset the Rowdy Radial record, which currently sits at 464, which, when you think about it, is not that fast in the 8th mile for a small tire car. It's fast, but it's not like it's, oh my God, it's ungodly fast. But when I sit here and tell you that it's on a 26 by 8.5 tire, you go,
I was getting ready to say.
Hey, wait, hang on. Yeah. So the interesting thing is we're not the first guys to ever run Rowdy Radial, but the rules for Rowdy Radial, this is the tire you have to run, and that's it. There is no other rule. So some people come out with real lightweight, stretched wheelbase cars. Some people come out with a stock, ratty looking with a million stickers on it Mustang. And the guy, I'm trying to think, Devin Vanderhoof and Jordan Tuck was his driver 3 years ago. They set the record. They made one pass a day. Their best pass was a 4:59. They wanted to run in the 6s in the quarter, but they said that they were like, the car was moving around way too much at 208 miles an hour. So they lifted early and went like a 706 or something. So anyway, he throws down the gauntlet. He resets the record. And he says, I'm not competing in this class again until somebody resets it. Well, last year, Doug Cook at Motion Raceworks told me that this car had the power because they decided we're not going to run a stock Coyote anymore. They got a slightly bigger turbo, and they decided to have fast-forward race engines. The same guys that build Brett's engines build a combination for this car. And I can't say what it ran in testing, but it should challenge or reset the record. Right. And if it does, Devin has already told me he will put small tires on his brand new S550 car that he just debuted in December, and he will come back and challenge for the record next year.
I was going to wonder, is Devin going to be here at all?
So Devin and his normal driver, Josh Davis, will be here. They will be in the unlimited class. So Devin, the guy who had the infamous convertible Fox Mustang called Big Earn, named after the bowling movie. I forget it. It's escaping my mind right now. I think it was Kingpin or something. I forget exactly what it was called.
Okay, Kingpin.
Anyway, yeah. So anyhow, so that car, they blew the roof off of it at Six Summer last year. and basically took themselves out of competition. So then they were going to switch it, and they actually put a hardtop on it, and they still did it anyway, even after he sold it to a guy because they reworked the car. He bought the first of 20 turnkey rolling chassis race cars from a company called J&E Chassis Works. And it's an actual real deal 2017 Shelby GT350 Mustang. It actually has a Shelby nameplate. It has Shelby paperwork, but it had been cut. It's a 25-1 chassis, meaning it is certified to run in the fives. It has a ProMod red NHRA tag on the chassis, and it has run in the 420s gingerly, like with no amount of real serious boost on it yet. But the problem that they're having with it is it's wheeling. So they're trying to get it figured out. They've already been, I want to say, 3 test sessions, and they're in South Carolina, so they don't really have anything close right now. They traveled to Bradenton twice that I'm aware of for a one-day test already. So
I think there's a good picture of them at Bradenton where it's
separated
up
about
out.
Probably that much, and that's way too much for a car that makes that amount of power. So the interesting thing is that car actually has, most people haven't caught on to it yet, but when I reported on it the first time, a lot of people called me and said, I can't believe that's what he's running. He's running a 540 cubic inch based Chevy from Par Racing Engines, which is a very popular bracket builder. So, and when they started, it was a big single turbo. Then they went to twin 88s. Now it has twin 98s on it. So it'll make a lot of steam. So, but
there's the fellas out of Carolina that have the 66 or 7 hardtop Nova that run a Par setup in the
that is Graham Hayes, who ironically so Graham's car was nitrous until the end of 2024, and then he basically went to Devin and said, I basically want to buy the turnkey package that you have in your car, and that's one of the photos that I sent you, Mitchell, is his car. And basically he went from like a best of like, I want to say 17, 720 on the jug to running 650s in his first event out with twin turbos. And that car in testing at one of the events that I was at Rockingham ran 413 on a 275 tire.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So is the Taylor's?
It should be pretty quick.
It's getting nasty.
It's gone in the 630s at Hot Rod Drag Week before he had to drop out.
Right.
Is Alex Taylor and their dad Dennis going to be able to make it, or are they going to race?
They are supposed to be. They are supposed to be here, from what I was told. Last I spoke to Alex, I'm trying to remember what was going on. They tested in the off season a little later than they normally would, and because the MPMC convention moved back to California this year, they actually were not in Florida for early testing. But as far as I know, they're supposed to be there either Saturday or Sunday, I believe. So
I tell you what, they draw a crowd now. They really draw a crowd around their car, and
they said they found some stuff out in the off season. I couldn't quite drag it out of her of what's changed, but apparently when they were testing with Mickey Thompson up in Ohio last August, they found something and they worked on it in the off season, and I think that's why they had some late testing. Right. And I mean, she told me, she said, I can't tell you what it is right now. She goes, but even if it was great, she goes, it's still a shoebox. It's still above 3,000 pounds. It's still not going to be earth shattering. I'm not going to run fives, but I'd like to know that I can keep chipping away at it. So
yeah, it's true. And their testing that they recently did at 8th Mile Track, like you said, they showed some things. They didn't say everything, but they showed some things. Discovered, like you said, through testing. Mitchell, you going to say something?
Yeah, I think last year, didn't they drop a drive shaft up there in South Georgia during the event? They had an issue.
I think that was 2024. I don't think they did that in 2025. But yeah, they either grenaded a drive shaft or they wrung the ends off of it. They basically got another one and got it plugged in like in time to make a hit with like less than 10 minutes remaining or something like that.
I'll tell you what, Derek, you sent me all these pictures. Let's run through them and talk a little bit about these drivers because, without them, it wouldn't be no show.
Yeah, so I sent you a little bit of everything here, so I hope everybody understands that it's not like I tried to play favorites. I mean, even though you did show my boss first. So.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't understand why it's called Sick or why it's called Sick the Magazine, so this is Tom Bailey's car. This is his third 69 Camaro, but probably the most well-known. It's called 6 Seconds 2.0 because the original one that he bought from Denny Terzic, that was the first car to ever average a 6-second pass at Hot Rod Drag Week in 2013, was 6 Seconds 1.0. This car was really built to kind of push the envelope. It's the first and thus far only car to ever run a 5-second time in competition. Now, when we pull back a little bit, yes, Larry Larson and several other people have run in the 5s in a street legal car. However, they've never done it while completing a week. So Tom is the only guy that ever did it. And the funny part is he did it in 2019 on the last day. And it's funny to sit there and think about how much more power a lot of people make and how many cars have been built since then. But Tom's car still remains the only guy that has done it. The next closest guy, Brett LaSala at 608. So this is Jeff Lutz. Jeff Lutz has a very storied career in a multitude of categories. He's won Hot Rod Drag Week twice, once with this car and once with the Evil Twin 57 Chevy that he kind of became more well-known for before he got into, say, Street Outlaws and so forth. Right. Ironically enough, this car, which kind of got to be more well-known as Mad Max when it was wrapped stealth black, and it won Hot Rod Drag Week in 2016 and actually held the overall ET average at 619 for the better part of 9 years. This car won the NMCA Pro Street World Championship in 2012, 2013, I want to say. So it has done a lot. And he, unfortunately, has just had some engine issues over the years. I actually saw him a couple weeks ago at Orlando. He was testing. He said he hopes he's got it lined out. They've swapped some stuff around with engine management. His son is tuning and been kind of getting his feet wet, and it's made a couple of good runs. So we're hopeful that Jeff will do well. So far in 3 appearances, he has made it to day 4 and gotten close, but it is laid down a 612 at 250 miles an hour in competition once. So it's there. It's just he's got to get the stars to align. And it's not on a lack of effort. It's just been that, sometimes when you're out of the game and you have to revamp some things, it takes some time. So Jeff will be there. All right, you want to talk about a really cool Cinderella story, and this is a brother effort. This is Nick and David Deal's car. So they've been competing with us since we did our first 6 Summer in 2023. Now, they've had a couple different Mustangs. This car got renamed Phoenix, as in the bird that rises from the ashes. So this is the first car, and thus the only car that has ever clocked a 6-second average in Super Street, meaning stock suspension, small tires, either like a 275 drag radial or smaller. And this car has a single turbo LS swapped engine from Steve Morris. Well, after they averaged in the 6s at 6 Summer with us last year, unfortunately, they crashed the car on Hot Rod Drag Week in September. They were at a place called Empire Dragway. It has not a short shutoff, but a shorter shutoff, and the brakes locked up on them, and it destroyed the whole front end of the car. So they literally, I kid you not, just got this thing fired and put back together probably about a week ago. It has been all repainted and everything. It doesn't even look like it's been patched together. It's now twins. It has different exhaust routes. They said they lost somewhere between 500 to 600 pounds of weight in the car. I don't know where. So they've swapped engines twice because they were trying some new stuff out, and I think they went back to their old combination. So let's put it this way. This car in testing has gone 670s. So if they just have that motor in it and they've lost that weight, this car on small tires could possibly run in the mid-6s. And I don't doubt it if they can get it together. The biggest thing that is going to be their enemy is going to be track time. They have 0 time on this car since they've gotten it put back together.
Jeez, please.
So this photo just
show a picture of the crowd there.
So here's the interesting thing. That's not the crowd. Those are the competitors.
Right. Ceremony.
That's on the last day. You can see the trophies and you can see the helmets to the left side of that photo. And the thing that the reason I sent you that is because this is like probably the best part of it. it is literally like if you were a bracket or an index racer or a test and tune person, this is the equivalent of saying, I went out, I had fun, it goes in the box or it goes out the gate, and I didn't break anything serious, and I got to enjoy myself. There's all of these people that are all sitting there saying, we got to have fun with our friends for 5 days. And that is what we celebrate more than anything else. Yes, there's class champions. Yes, there's overall champions. There's people that get to take home really cool stuff. But it is about having a great time with other people that may live thousands of miles away from you, and being able to basically what I now call take a week vacation, but do it with cars and racing.
We made it. That's what it is we made it.
Exactly. And speaking of thousands of miles, how ironic that you're going to go to Rovik next. So for the guys that love the different combinations and the literally dyed in the wool, love to work on their own stuff, this is your champion right here. Rovik Ahuja. He's from the Yukon. Okay? So not right around the corner. 1 year, 2 years ago, he drove 10,000 miles total to get to Sick Week and back home. Now, he's a pilot by trade, so there are times where he can't duck away to do dragon drives, but he usually does about 4 to 5 of them a year. This is a true deal, Olds-powered 67 Cutlass. It has slowly gotten quicker every single year. He claims that he now has a brand new Bill Travato Racing out of New York. He's helped him with his engines for the last couple of years. He has a brand new bullet from Bill Travato. It's got a good amount of nitrous on top of it, and he swears that this thing is going to run in the 8s this year on small tires. And the other great thing about this guy is he always brings me cans of maple syrup from Canada and the Yukon. So, yes, they actually do make cans of maple syrup. And he will also highly educate you on the better part of tacos. So,
yeah, I tell you what, it is an amazing story of just traveling to get to the event. Think about all the memories that he made along that trip, and the things that he got to see that a lot of people will never see.
Yeah, he actually also holds the most runs ever made in one day. When we did Death Week, which was in California, Nevada, and Arizona, we drove 2,400 miles in 8 days. On the final day, he made 26 passes in less than 6 hours.
Oh, my goodness. That's
and the car still ran, too. And it had not, blown up or run out of nitrous or any of that. But so
that's a testament right there.
Yeah. All right. This is Alan's. Oh God, I want to say it's a 71 or 72 Monte Carlo. I'm actually drawing a blank here. I apologize. I believe he normally runs it in heavy metal. He has run it in a couple of other classes though as well. Alan Whitaker, that's it. It's a 72 Monte Carlo. He calls it Greenie. He's had this car for north of 2 decades. As a matter of fact, he bought it, if I remember correctly, I think he bought it when he was either 11 or 15 years old. So this is a all steel except the hood, full weight, factory interior, like it has factory buckets, a factory dash, everything. This thing weighs north of 2 tons. It has a Steve Morris 572 base big block with twin turbos, and this car has run 690s at over 206 miles an hour on drag radials.
Wow.
Yes, twin chutes required on that one for sure.
Yes.
Ooh.
So this photo just kind of gives you a real good part of, it's not just about the drag racing action. It's about getting out there and cruising the route. And if you look, I just pulled a photo from random here, for example, and I believe the gentleman who's in the Firebird Formula that's in the foreground, I believe that's John Smith. He ran with us one time, and I want to say he ran in the it's Steve Smith. That's it. He ran with us in the modified category. It's a 750 car. But if you see, he's pulling a little trailer with him, and he's got a Nissan Armada that's in Sick Ward right next to him, and then he's got another competitor and a full-size single-cab 1500 Chevy pickup truck right behind them, and we're just driving down a 3-lane road in the middle of Florida. And this is the greatest thing about this is that depending on when you leave, you could have some people that stay and hang out and cruise with their friends. You could have people that leave at different times, depending on how the day goes and if you need to make a second or third pass. So that's the best part about this is that you get to see all these people reacting to how it was when I was a kid, and you used to see cars that were cool driving on the road every day, and so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they pay attention to the map when it comes out, because I think it's neat that bands come out and they line the streets and route these men and women on their way to their next track.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really cool to be able to put that out there. But without getting too much into the negative, one of the problems you get into is the internet is great, but the internet sucks. Well, you put the route out there ahead of time so people know where we're going. Well, who else do you also think pays attention to that? Thieves.
Law enforcement.
Well, that too. So what Tom has done is he said, you know what, we want everybody, whether you're a spectator and you come to the racetrack, or you're a fan and you want to watch along the road, or whatever it is, we want you to be part of this event. But we know that it can bring the bad elements. So that's why one of the other things we do, in addition to running the routes, is we try to get 2 to 4 host hotels at every single stop that we go to. And we hire either off-duty cops or additional security to go to every single one. So that way everybody can feel safe about their stuff being there.
That's a good move. That's
yeah. So this is Bob Hess Jr. He does the events normally with his dad in the passenger seat. And he is one of 3 guys out of Big 3 Racing. That's what B3R on the front of that car stands for. They're out of Ohio. They run a speed shop and business up there, which is actually ironically located on Dragway 42's property. So you can literally walk out the front door of their shop, and you will be in the water box of that racetrack within less than 3 minutes. Oh, this is a 82 Mustang with a Gen 3 Hemi with a single turbo on it. And on drag radials and stock suspension, ran 749 last year en route to winning his class.
What a combo. There you go.
That right there is Graham Hayes' 66 Chevy 2 Nova. So the car we talked about earlier, and you can see it has a tiny little tire underneath the back. So he has run it on some bigger tires in Pro Street when it used to have nitrous on it. But he basically went to Devin Vanderhoof at, I guess, the later part of 2024 and said, hey, man, I really want to change my program over. Tell me what you're running. And so it was basically like Devin, I guess, probably helped him spec it out and what have you. And he basically told me, he said, it's the same thing as my car, but just a different wrapper. And on the first outing he did with it, he just kept slowly working his way up. And on the final day, he went 650 with a 0 at 224 miles an hour. And like I said, since that time, he's been 630s with it. Now, if there is such a thing as a quote-unquote issue, it's that Graham Hayes' car and Nick Reinhardt's car, which is a 67 Nova, so there are some slight differences, but they're very similar in paint color. Well, what Graham did about midpoint of the year last year was he two-toned his car just so the 2 gray Novas wouldn't look identical. So the next time you see this car, it'll look slightly different. It's been two-toned.
Okay, good. Yes.
Now, this one is very interesting. So this is John Moore. He actually runs a business out of, I think it's Ohio, called Moore Speed. And this is a 2011 Crown Victoria LS Swap single turbo setup. And the whole 4x4 look, he set that up originally from the start. So the very first sick week we ever did, this car showed up and ran in the bottom 10s. And that was just because he didn't have a certified cage or a license. Since then, this car has gone in the 830s, and it weighs north of 4,200 pounds, and it still has a full interior. As a matter of fact, when we did Sick Michigan Miles last year, one of the 2 drive days that we did was, why is it drawing a blank? Woodward Dream Cruise on Saturday. So we did the actual Woodward Dream Cruise, and John drove this car with me in the back seat, where we were in stop-and-go traffic for 3.5 hours, and it never overheated or anything, but it ran a best of 535 at 136 miles an hour in the 8th mile that week.
Wow.
That is impressive. That is so impressive.
And he decided he was tired of, quote-unquote, tying it down. So in the offseason, I just did a story on this, he now has a 750 legal SFI cage in it. So he's going to turn it up in heavy metal this year and see if he can't get it into the bottom 8s, high 7s. So the reason I included this one is this is the cool thing about Dragon Drives.
Yes.
You are going to see what I call token cars. You'll see Mustangs, you'll see Camaros, you'll see Malibus, you'll see that kind of stuff. But then you'll also see cool stuff like this. You'll see VWs. We actually have a VW Beetle class as part of the Gassers versus Hot Rods versus Beetles. We combine them all together into one class, but then we have subcategory winners. So like we'll have a Gasser winner for A and B, we'll have a Hot Rod winner, and we'll have a VW Beetle winner. The Beetles last year got together and brought 12 cars to Sick Week, and it is really cool to see a bunch of mid-60s Beetles. And some of these things are pretty wound up. They'll run in the bottom 10s, high 9s for some of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, there's some beautiful ones, too, with the turbochargers and some of them nitros. And, yeah, they're absolutely beautiful, too.
So this car has a very interesting story. This is Timothy and Caitlin Blythe's 64 Triumph Spitfire, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's a 64. So the first year I saw this car, and I dug, and I could not find a photo of it. I know I have one somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. The first year they competed, this car still had the stock chassis. It had a small, like a real small tire, probably like an 8 or 9 inch wide slick. The engine was even more out of the hood than this, and it ran in the 11s. And then, as you can see, the front end has been stretched on this. So when they came back the next year, they basically stretched this car a little bit and put an aftermarket. And he built the aftermarket chassis for this car. Well, when you stretch it, it basically limits what classes you can run in. So it puts him in the unlimited class, which is where a lot of the fast stuff goes. Well, it's a twin turbo LS. It's got an overdrive 4L80 transmission in it. And him and his wife fit in something that does not look much bigger than, like, say, a buggy seat that you would fit into in a Ferris wheel at a county fair. This car has been 750s at over 190 miles an hour, and it does not look like something you want to go 750s in.
Right. That's
well,
so true.
So unfortunately, they had a bad crash with it at Sick Summer on, I think it was day 3 or day 4 last year. And it didn't damage it horribly bad, but it was kind of one of those, okay, this might take a while. He's got it all back together, and I actually saw it a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think he has a whole lot of test time on it, but it's good to know that him and his wife are going to be back. They have done it every single year, and they do it on a shoestring budget, but, you know, again, it's got an overdrive trans, it's got an LS with twins. It's nothing crazy, but it works because it's in a relatively lighter weight car. So it's good to actually see that there are couples that go out and do this. And again, kind of like what we talked about previously, when you go out to these events and you see what people do with them, and it's not just, oh, okay, it's some single, guy covered in grease that's going around doing it by himself. Now, this is one of Gainesville's regulars. This is a guy who a lot of people know. This is Kevin Smith from KSR Fabrication and Performance. So this car is actually owned by Kimber Jones. It's a trio effort between Kimber, Kevin, and Will Stevenson, who is a very well-established and decorated ex-outlaw drag radial racer. Well, they took this car and they put a 5.3 motor in it out of a Tahoe, which was a Soccer Mom vehicle, thus the nickname Soccer Mom. Well, this car is run in the mid-7s. I think it's been in the 750s a couple of times. Well, they decided that they're going to spice it up for this year, and they're going to enter Rowdy Radio with it. So they slapped some 8.5-inch slicks on it, and it ran in the 470 range in testing, which will get them in the competitive area. I mean, if they can do that all week, that's better than the average that won last year. But like I said, we've got some people that are going to compete against them. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on the small tires on the 8th mile standard versus quarter. But this car has placed, I want to say, 3 out of 4 years in the top 3 in its class. So it's a pretty safe bet that Kevin will do well.
And I'll tell you what, Kevin, he is a heck of a driver too.
He is. I mean, considering that he's not only won races and won grudge races and won no time races with this car, but he recently won the Danger Ranger race at the Freedom Factory. He's won the Ultima races. He's done stuff like Champ Car and 24 Hours of Lemons. I mean, he's a very well decorated and rounded racer. So yeah, and not only that, I mean, he's a heck of a fabricator too. So that is Nick Reinhardt's Nova. You can look at that and kind of see some similarities between it and Graham Hayes' car. I mean, granted, it's a 67, so the grille and the headlight bezels are a little bit different. But if you park these two cars next to each other, it's very easy to do the double take of, am I seeing double, So Nick Reinhardt's car is also a big block twin turbo car, but it is a Pro Street car, which is required to weigh north of 3,000 pounds. And it also has some differentiations in how the chassis is done and where you can cut it and what needs to remain original and so forth. This car ran in the 690s last year. And again, it has to be above 3,000 pounds. This car actually weighs much closer to 3,500 pounds, if I remember correctly. So, and it's a very nice all steel except for the hood. So it's a very nicely done hot rod that doesn't look like it would run that quick, but it does.
Now, I want to show everybody the map. So if you're on this route and you want to go out to these certain areas, find you a nice place on the side of a road and route everybody on. I know a lot of people, when they came through Stark, I want to say it was actually, 2 years ago, the route was down 100 going toward Palaca.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean to tell you, man, there was trucks after trucks just parked on the side of roads with their tailgates down and people out there with their family watching the cars go by, taking pictures. So it's a really neat experience for the fans come out and see some of these hot rods.
So for those of you that want to take a little bit more of a detailed look at this, and this is the Ride with GPS map that Luke created. So basically, every place that has what looks like a lowercase I on it is either a track or a place that we're stopping. So you can run your mouse or your cursor over them, and you can find out where we're going in that particular location. But basically, where you see the square, that's Gainesville Raceway. That's the base. So we would basically start there. You're going to go north to South Georgia. Then you see it bear around the west side of the state, which again, because we have a drive day, that is allowing us to be able to take something other than I-75 to get all the way down to Bradenton, which is going to be your lower I, where you go all the way down to the gray one at the bottom. But again, the advantage of this is you can actually go to our website, which is sickthemagazine.com. If you click on the very top orange box, which will say Sick Week 2026, you can scroll down and it'll have GPS in two different ways. You can download it to either a phone, your computer, or your mobile device, or you can view it on the screen and just look at where all the points are. Now, once we get started, if anybody is doing, say, Sick Ward, or they come out as a spectator or what have you, we'll have programs that are available, and they'll have all the directions and all the details and step-by-step stuff. So we still put those out because it's a cool collectible, and some people like myself actually still like to look at step-by-step instructions versus doing something like this, because it allows my phone to be free, and it also allows me to be able to say, okay, I know exactly where I'm at. And when we put that kind of stuff out there every day, it allows people to also be able to go, okay, here's a nice little corner store right here, or here's a stop sign that I can do next to, or what have you. So like you said, you can pick a spot anywhere along that route and hang out. But the problem that I will tell you is you never know when cars are leaving. Like, some people are going to leave a racetrack. They might make a good first pass and be gone by noon. Some people may not leave until 3 o'clock. It just depends.
Yeah, I found that probably about the best time to watch them, is kind of give yourself from the starting time to the ending time, probably somewhere right around the middle is where you start catching the traffic. I mean, I know I've always done that. I've waited to see what time y'all would start the event at a certain track and try to judge about where they would be at about halfway margin. So you're catching the back end of those who have already done their passes, and you're catching those that come behind them. But it's a really great experience for people to come out with their families and root them on. And I tell you, if you got the time and you're near these tracks, please, go support the event. It's a great event. It will not let you down. All the racers are down to earth. You walk up to them, like Derek said, you can ask them questions, and just take it all in like a sponge.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I can literally just start naming that had told me, I went to one of these races as an interested spectator and never thought I'd be able to do it. Now here I am doing it, which means that they are more than happy to, talk to the next person that wants to get involved in this. And I feel that that's why the drag and drive event style format is growing. 5 years ago, there weren't even 10 of these. 2 years ago, there were 28. We've almost doubled in size when you look at how much that time has gone by. And again, it's because of the people that participate in them. If there wasn't that need and that drive to be able to do them, there wouldn't be so many events. And the other good thing that's happened is, even though there's a lot of them that are really west of the Mississippi, there are starting to be a few more that are going out west. Like, we've only done the one that we did out west, and it wasn't overly popular, but it was okay. But there is one called Redwood Rally that happens in Oregon and sometimes the state of Washington, but mostly Oregon. And then obviously there's Rocky Mountain Race Week, which takes place originally around the areas of Kansas, Colorado, etc. But as more and more people dip their toe into this, they decide, okay, there's a section of the United States, or in some cases, because there's now 3 of them in Canada, there might be an area where people don't get a chance to go do this. Heck, there's a freaking drag and drive in Alaska that's happened for the last 3 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Michelle.
Let me clue you in. There's only one racetrack in Alaska. So.
Exactly. We talked to her at PRI, and she's like, "This is amazing how this is taken off." So
I still want to go to that track. I
Yes.
wouldn't even care if I made a pass down it. Just the view of what that place looks like in June is insane.
Yes.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's kind of a neat story. Talking to Michelle about their drag and drive. Having the opportunity to use a abandoned drag strip. I mean, not landing strip for airplanes, and they would go out there, and that would be their second stop. So, just really neat that they're able to join in with the fun.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the other thing that I would tell people that has really blossomed in probably, I want to say, the last 5 to 6 years, it's very easy for some people, and I say this about the racing industry in general. There's a lot of people that think this is the way things need to happen, or they're what's the wording I'm looking for? Resistant to growth or change. Right. There are a lot of drag and drives that are 2 and 3 days. There is nothing wrong with doing one of those, especially if you want to get your feet wet. Go out and just do something that you feel comfortable with. I mean, you want to push yourself a little bit, because this is different than a lot of other things that people might have tried. And like Robert and I talked about earlier, this is something where, unlike a drag race, you do have to go into it with a little bit more planning. You need to look at it a little harder, especially if you're a competitor, because there's rules in place. We want everybody to have the same playing field. Well, if you're only going to, say, for example, get 2 weeks vacation a year, for you to be able to commit to doing something like a sick week or a hot rod drag week or a Rocky Mountain Race Week, where you're basically chewing into half, if not more, of your vacation time for a year, especially if you have a family, that might not make sense. Plus, it's expensive. I mean, gas is expensive and everything else. So if there's an event that you could do where you only have to take a day or two, it'll at least give you the chance to try it and say, I really like this. I want to do something that's 3 or 4 days, or, okay, I like it, but I'm not going to sacrifice what I normally do for this.
Right.
You'll never know until you try it. But again, for me, maybe it's just because of my upbringing, but I never had a race car. To this day, I still don't. The only thing I ever owned was a street car. And considering that for the first 12 years that I raced, I never had a truck and trailer. I didn't own one. So I knew that it had to be able to be reliable enough to get to whatever racetrack I was going to, change tires, race it, and then drive it home. Mm-hmm. That included driving to Atlanta one time, or technically speaking, Commerce. So, that's a 7-hour drive. So it's like, okay, well, I don't care how fast you make it. If it can't make it home, then you're getting a towing bill that might, preclude you from racing for the next 3 to 6 months. So, that's the kind of thing that you think of. And I think that is why this is more easy for people to digest and look at. Is there's a little bit of something for everybody. I mean, the photos pretty much illustrated. You could have anything from a 6-second car to a 13-second car, and you could have just as much fun as the next person without getting outside of your comfort zone or your price range.
Yep, completely agree. I've been trying to talk Mitchell into, if we can't do sick week, at least do sick ward. And it's trying to get our schedules conflict. Obviously,
if I got to take off, I'm just going to go ahead and try to get in.
Oh, I agree. We'll double up.
I got to use the PTO hours, and I'm gonna go ahead and just dive right on in.
We'll double up, and I'll just narrate as he's driving, down the
Well,
track, and we'll swap it up.
So I will tell you that I really want to do one, but for obvious reasons, like up until now, I had never thought about it just because of the expense with it. I've talked to enough people to figure out that it's like, okay, I can race locally for about what it would cost me to do this for a week. I mean, gas and hotels are what they are. That there's no way around that unless you decide you want to camp, which is an option. A lot of places do that. But the thing I would tell you is not that I don't want to tell you to run Sick Week, especially considering it's here in your backyard. But if you ever wanted to go somewhere that you've never been, double it up and make a drag and drive out of it. Like, for example, the Florida one can be hard because of how fast it sells. So if you want to compete, broaden your scope a little bit and look at something like, say, Six Summer or Michigan Miles or 666. Because now you're getting into a smaller drag and drive where it's going to be smaller racetracks. You're going to go visit tracks you may not have ever been to before, number two. Number three, you'll get to see places and states you've never been to before. And you get a chance to run something that's a little bit different. The thing is that there are people that'll literally fly over from like Australia, Sweden, etc., and they'll rent a car just to do Sick Week.
Yep.
Because they want to be able to experience it without all of that. Oh my God, I've got to go to bed. I've only got to get 2 hours of sleep and then get up and work on the car.
Right.
If you're able to do it to where you make the most out of it by recording some clips and putting some stuff together, do it that way. That's what I've seen people do.
See, Mitchell told you. We just keep it simple. I'd like to go. I think doesn't Devin, isn't he associated with ones up in the Carolinas?
They do,
Also,
yeah. Actually, his wife has really kind of been the driving force behind it. It's called Street Yeet, and it actually doesn't coincide with a whole lot of stuff because it's normally in November. This year, they actually got it into October, which will make the tracks a little bit better because, October, November, you start to get cold up there. A lot of places start to close down, but it's a shorter drive. It's shorter drives between tracks. However, I will tell you that it is one of the few drag and drives out there that will do 2 racetracks in one day. So you run one of them until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You have to drive to the next one and then do it again. So
there's the challenge,
again,
right? There's the challenge.
Now I will also tell you that Laura is a big fan of tacos and tequila / margaritas. So if you want to go and you want to have a good time, Southeastern Street Meet is definitely one you put on your calendar.
Oh man, I love me some tacos. But you were talking about cold, and we all know that the weather has been coming in. And it's like I'm curious if Steve Morris and his family is going to be able to make it or not. You know what I mean? Tell everybody when the scheduled time to open for people to spectate on Monday.
Okay, so that's not going to change. So we're still running the same gate times. My guess is at this point, and we really, I hate saying the word, but I'm just going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
The weather it's Florida. You don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. I mean, granted,
Exactly.
Yes, that applies in June and July more, but still, this past weekend, there was a 50% chance of you-know-what on Sunday, and it never happened. So, I mean, yes, we are more than likely going to be cold. So the thing I will tell you at this point is I have been to enough racetracks where it's cold. If you wait and you let the sun do what it's supposed to, you can probably be on a racetrack by 11 or 12 o'clock during the day. So if that's the case, we will probably run a little bit later than our normal 2 to 3 o'clock time span. However, that's a day of decision. I don't make that decision. Tom doesn't make that decision. That's something that our head of event personnel, Keith Turk, and sometimes he'll consult with Lonnie Grimm, who's NHRA's national tech director. They'll get together and they'll kind of look at stuff and say, okay, here's the window we think we're looking at. Here's the safety factor. Let's see what we want to do. Because everybody still has this idea in mind that it's screw the little guy and all we care about is the big numbers. Okay, well, let's be honest. The big numbers are what makes spectators show up. Because if you need a perfect example of that, the Baby Gators runs everything but the nitro classes as well as Pro Mod and Top and Pro Stock and Pro Stock Bike.
Right.
There's 1,000, maybe 1,500 spectators out there at that versus the Gator Nationals where they pack them in. Okay, Point taken. Doesn't mean that the rest of the classes don't matter. We're still worrying about every single person that's out there. So everybody that thinks, oh, you're going to start with the fast classes and you're going to shove the little guys all the way to the end. No, we rotate classes every single day. Right. And that is depending on how big the classes are, what we finished with, giving everybody a chance to not have to absolutely stress like I didn't have any time between last night and this morning, all of that. So the game plan at this point, and this may change, and again, we will post everything. We also have a texting service that we send stuff out, or I send stuff out on constantly. We will update that every single day. But the game plan as of right now is every single day of competition. So in other words, February 2nd, day number 1, Monday, all the way through Saturday, we will open at a set time. We will allow spectators in at a certain time. The racer gate opens an hour before the spectator gate does. So the deal with that, so I can whittle off the actual correct times and I won't look like an uninformed you-know-what, is because they do change slightly. They do change slightly. So normally racer gates are at 7, and that'll be Sunday through Friday. Okay. Normally, spectator gates open at 8, and that is also what I'm showing on my schedule currently as Sunday through Friday. And normally, we would start racing at about 9 a.m. My guess is, especially at the beginning of next week, that we will probably pull ourselves back from that a little bit to allow the racetrack to warm up. We'll take a look at it and kind of see what it is. And for all these people that are like, it's 40 degrees, you can't do it. When the sun beats down on the racetrack, there's plenty of times it's 40-degree air temperature and it's 70-degree track temperature, and we're fine. So, Stick Prep is going to be out there. Thomas Bemis, Wesley, and a bunch of other guys will be there to help out. So we're not going to send anybody down a racetrack that's not safe. So, again, the only thing that might change is that if you get out there first thing in the morning to watch the action, you might have another hour or two to walk around and look at everybody thrashing on their stuff, getting it ready to go down the racetrack. So, So,
not to put you on the spot, y'all have some electric car competitors, correct? Still,
maybe I don't know for certain because I spent some time with our events director Jenny and I looked, so I think I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, I was just going to see, the average the times. Y'all would just average the times everywhere else except for Orlando, correct?
So I'm not really sure what deal they came to, because the issue that we run into is there are a lot of times where my plan A car didn't get done in time, I'm going to go to plan B. Very rarely do we get more than 1 or 2 EVs. Now I want to say we had a Tesla the first 2 years we did it. I don't think we've had one the last 2 years, and I don't think we have one this year. Now at Six Summer, we have had guys that have EV swapped classic cars. There's a guy that did a 37 Chevy, and there's a guy that did a 68 Model El Camino. Right. So I'm not sure what, and I never heard a decision, but I do know that they were looking through the registration list, and if there was somebody on there that had run an EV in the past, they were going to reach out to them. So yeah, my guess is it was going to be one of two things: either you're going to make it 4 out of 5 days, or it was going to be a refund, or can you substitute a car, etc. I don't know what that final decision was, but yes, as soon as the Orlando deal came out, I basically immediately sent it over to our events team and said, hey, we need to get ahead of the ball on this, because this is one of those things where we want to try to make it as fair and as even for everybody, and just let them take that from there. So I'm not sure what the decision was, but like I said, as far as I know, Sick Week normally doesn't have more than 1 or 2. So if it does affect somebody, they'll figure it out. Sick Summer, thankfully, I don't think anybody has changed anything yet, as far as I know. But we'll get to that when we get Sick Week done.
Okay. Sorry I put you on the spot like that, but
that's okay. I was expecting the question at some point.
Right.
I get asked lots of those questions where it's like, yeah, I might know the answer and not be able to say it, but 9 times out of 10, I usually just say what the answer is. But that one is one where it's like, I know my small little pond or pool or whatever you want to call it. I'll stay right here and I'll let them take care of that.
That makes sense. Well, tell us, Derek. Now, this year it's being live fed, correct?
Yes, we will be live streaming on Freedom Plus. So the deal with that is, nothing against YouTube. I mean, we did that for the first 2 years. But Tom said, let's take this to the next level. And we started looking around at what some of the other broadcast companies had done. And again, I'm not putting anybody down. Everybody does their own thing. And there's a lot of people that do fine with it. But, Mitchell and I have even talked about this. I think when you look at what Freedom Plus has brought to the table with having somebody to do interviews and doing lots of pre-taped media, a lot of the stuff that we do at PRI to talk to the manufacturers, where there's really not very much, if any, dead time, quote unquote, of somebody that's, we're sitting here looking at a racetrack with nothing going down it and there's no entertainment.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that are really important, because when you pull yourself back and you look at this, you say, okay, how many people go to a drag and drive that are hardcore drag racers versus how many of them go because it's something new and exciting to see if I want to follow, or it's something different, or it has a YouTube person or two that's in it. I mean, let's be honest. The whole Freedom Plus thing was started by Cletus McFarland. So
Right.
if you can get more people into drag racing by whatever means it is, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is the reason why I approach announcing this race differently than I do with a lot of the other stuff I do. You may have more casual observers, and you kind of need to walk through that stuff so they understand what happens. And because of that, you need to have somebody that's in the pits that can interact with people and ask them the good questions that people want to know the answers to, but also make it where it's easily digestible. Adam Dory has done a great job for us doing that in the past. We have been lucky enough to have Emily Reeves from Flying Sparks Garage do it with us at Six Summer, and she is going to come do it again with us this year. So Emily, for people that don't know, Emily and her husband Aaron are real deal gearheads. They have done it for most of their lives. They've worked on everything from boats and planes to diesel semis, as well as a multitude of hot rods. And she just, you can tell she really is happy about doing this kind of stuff. It's not a job. This is her getting to, talk back and forth with fellow enthusiasts. So I think she's going to do a great job. She said she was a little nervous doing live interviews versus doing stuff recorded, where they have a chance to kind of go back and kind of trim it a little bit. But in Six Summer, I really think she came into her own. I think she did a great job. She and I got to talk about what she saw a couple of times on live stream, where we did have one day where we had some weather, and we got to talk about, who was leading every class and that kind of thing. And again, when you talk to somebody that's a true enthusiast and they have a wide spectrum of what they understand and what they've been around, conversations can flow very easily. And I felt very lucky to be able to work with her during Six Summer.
It's a great
and like you said, I think one of the most important things is to explain it to people where they can grasp it instead of using a lot of fling words, that they wouldn't
Right.
grasp it,
Right. Yeah. So one of the things, like, because you brought that up, I'm going to tell you one little secret that I learned a couple of years ago. So most of the time we have it to where Freedom Plus and a Trax mic are completely separate. And I feel like that's one of those things where I asked for it. I said, is there any way we can do that? And it was because somebody in one of our first live streams that we did on YouTube said, why are you calling the same group 6 times? Isn't everybody there by now? And it's like, well, if you look at it as a regular bracket racer or a regular test and tune racer, you're going to go, no, obviously not. That's why I'm still doing it.
Right.
But then if you take a step back and you go, okay, well, hang on a second. This is a regular broadcast. There could be everybody watching this stuff. Again, the same people that watch Cletus's stuff that he runs at the Freedom Factory may not be understandable or established with what we do. So you have to kind of take a step back and be willing to go, okay, if I just took 15 seconds to explain this a little bit differently, or there are certain calls that I need to make as an announcer that only go to the racetrack and don't go over the live stream, that makes more sense. Why am I boring somebody by making 7 lane calls? There's no reason to do so. So we can pull that back or show something in the interim while we're waiting, and it makes more sense. It makes for a better overall production quality of an event versus Derek's calling the same class 10 times now. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. You're absolutely right. From somebody on the outside looking in for the first time or listening for the first time, It doesn't make sense. So you streamline that. So do you mark the microphones? Do you have to mark?
No, but I will say that there have been times that when I was really tired, I picked up a walkie-talkie and talked into it like I was talking into a microphone, and vice versa, and I got roasted pretty hard, and deservedly so. So
They're like,
No.
here's some coffee to like take it away from you real slowly.
no.
Let's just direct you to the corner.
You can wear the pointy hat and go sit over there, and then you can come back when you want to act right. So,
Exactly. I've seen you at the end of the week of one of these events, and how you're still upright, I don't know. Just
I think I'll come crashing down at one point.
I know. You're
eventually.
literally the first one in and last one out. So, but you do a phenomenal job.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've been very lucky when we're live streaming the bracket races out at Gainesville. No one's ever asked that question. Why does he continue calling, racers to the lanes?
Well, and again, that's one of those things where, like Mitchell brought up to me, was it on Saturday or was it on Sunday? I forget what day it was. I was running around doing something. I think it was Saturday. I can't remember. But anyway, he's like, I don't feel like I'm quite as polished as you. And it's like,
when I get on the mic, everyone's
right. And so, I didn't think about it at the time because I think what I was doing was I was helping somebody who had never done a bracket race from the staging lanes. I was helping them through something.
Yes, yeah.
So,
and since there wasn't no silence, I went in there and grabbed the mic and.
Right. And so when I came back in there and I'm sitting down and he calls the next parent, I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, again, there are people that, in my opinion, and I've tried to pull myself back. I mean, I'll tell you guys both that I used to be way more talkative than this. I mean, like, God rest her soul. Jason and John Rollins' mother, Nancy, said that at one point that when I think I was 15 or 16 years old, we all used to race at the same track. She goes, my God, that kid gives me heartburn because of how much I talk. And I actually said that line at her funeral because like nobody wanted to get up and talk, and I was like, you know what, let's break the ice and let's at least make this a little easier to have a discussion with. And again, there is no right way to do things. And similar to drag racing, everybody is a beginner at some point. We all have to start somewhere. And I feel like for me, I was able to kind of work my way through doing announcing by trying stuff out and seeing what worked by looking at people's reactions. And it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the probably better you're going to get at it because you have more and more practice.
That's the way I look at it, when I do it. And, it's sometimes really funny, Derek, because I'll go down there to get ready to get my car and people will go up, was that you on the mic?
Yeah. I would hope so, because there's people that like, that they're similar to what I said about Bob Moles. There are certain people where when you hear them, you know it's them. Like Brian Loans, perfect example. You could literally have duct tape over my eyes, and it's like, yep, I know that's Brian because I can.
Brian, Joe Costella, Jason
Homer.
Homer's very distinctive. Yep. Mm-hmm. And there's
favorite car.
Altucci, because Altucci's like up here on the level.
Wow, that man's got some energy. Gee whiz, man.
He is, in my opinion, probably. I was just having this conversation with somebody at Gainesville this past weekend. I honestly feel like the NHRA gets a whole lot of flack about stuff. And yeah, you can call me a homer if you want to. I mean, I still think that having both series doing what they're doing is great because it gives people more options. Mm-hmm. But I feel like with the NHRA, with what they did with him, bringing him in for Pro Mod and just Pro Mod was a great idea, because basically as soon as he leaves the booth, when Pro Mod is over, he'll talk to whoever's there. Like every time he and I talk, it's always an eye-opening experience. I learned something. And he goes down to the pits and he starts talking to all the Pro Mod teams. So it's like, think about it. When he goes back to the mic the next time, as soon as somebody comes up, he could be sitting there going, this guy was just, pulling his car apart, and he had the motor out of it, and he had the cylinder heads off it. Oh my God, I can't believe he's coming back here, and he just went 569. And it's like,
yep.
Okay, slow down just a minute, but he just gave you a whole bunch of really good information that the average announcer isn't going to be able to tell you unless they have an assistant or somebody that's going down there and seeing that. So again, these are the kind of things that you need to do to take the production quality of your event, your live stream, or both to the next level. So, and like at one point, Mitchell only had one camera. Now he has two. So same thing. You're just slowly ratcheting your way up.
And we're fixing to get another new one because mine fell and hit the wall and kind of broken a couple of pieces. So the next camera will be just as clear as the one that's up in the tower, showing the top end, showing the tree. So
hey, listen, that grass was in focus and looked great, and nobody complained about the quality of how the grass looked. I think somebody said it was a little bit brown, but otherwise it was fine.
Yeah, someone asked
this time of the year.
What's the dial in on that grass?
I think somebody wrote, and they basically forgot to put sarcasm in quotes at the end. They said, "So we're not going to have a starting line camera."
Derek's like, he's going to take care of it because I think it fell while we were running Sportsman. So I can't just go out there and get it. I'm in the staging lanes and got to run down. So I tried to explain to people also, I says, that will not happen with a delay if, I'm doing a big race. I won't race a big race because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supplying the live stream, and I got to be able to act real fast. And sometimes I have an extra person up there with me. That way, if something does happen like that, I'm on the phone. Hey, how does it look? Is it back up? Is it crisp? Good. So I'm not having to run back and forth to the tower and back out to the camera. But we get this new camera out there, just like the one up in the tower. It's going to be a whole lot clearer at night. It's got a way bigger sensor, so it cuts all that graininess out. I mean, the other camera still works. It's just cracked up.
It's backup for backup.
Yeah, and trust me, I almost wanted to turn my cell phone camera on and show people he was out there for I want to say at least 20 to 30 minutes trying every single spot that he could to get that thing to stay on the stand, and then it didn't, and then he started using the wall, and it was you could just see the flag straight out, and it's okay, Mother Nature is basically just looking at you and trying to give you the hint dude, you need to stop and just take what you got.
And that tripod's heavy. That is a heavy tripod already. Yeah. But not the fear. I have a weight for it, so it'll be on there next time for sure.
I was gonna say I'll bring you some sandbags next time because we had to use those during on signs at times, like the big stand-up signs. If you didn't put weight on the bottom of them, the slightest breeze would knock them over. So eventually, I just bought some Army surplus sandbags, and then you just fill them every time you go out there. So and that works pretty well.
Well, maybe eventually, Derek, we'll have a third camera, and maybe we'll take that broken one and wrap it up with some duct tape.
It'll become a passenger.
The finish line.
Mitchell can pick people, and they will illustrate their runs like Rodney Fincham does when he's in his car.
Man, I love it when he illustrates. I love hearing him talk. If you have
never watched Fast and Fincham, first of all, you need to make sure that you're actually able to follow Southern Speak. Number one.
True.
Number two. I mean, that guy, the first time I ever met him was at New Year's Nationals at Palm Beach International Raceway before it closed. And he came upstairs on Thursday, and Jake Hodge was the guy who was announcing. And I was just sitting up there watching. And he comes up there, and I don't think he breathed at all because he never stopped talking.
Yep.
And it was just okay, I think I caught the fifth word sounded like a word, but the other ones had twang on them, and I couldn't quite, And I actually, because of him, I actually started a separate file in my phone of what dragsters were called because he calls them extension ladders. And I'd never heard a dragster called an extension ladder. And I was like, okay, so I wrote it down. And then last year at the Fall Brawl, I'm watching Mitch's live stream and people started commenting. And somebody wrote, did he just say pipe rack? And I'm like, that's been around for a while. I'm like, I've heard people call them that in the 80s. And so I said, all right, guys, comment some names of what you think dragsters are called. And I've got, like I said, I've got a note in my iPhone that has them all in there. And, for example, I've never heard of, what is it called, arrows with engines or something like that, or, sticks with engines or something like that. It's okay, there's some odd names that only, somebody like Rodney Fincham would talk about. And, by the way, According to Randy Fincham, the only RPM you leave at is 2,900 on an FTI converter.
Boy, isn't that true? Every single time. Gonna put the R's at 2,900 FTI. Come out of the water box, turn shifter on, and check dials, and here we go. And he is. First time I met him was at the bracket finals many years back at Gainesville, and just in line, and just like you said, exactly who he is exactly what he is behind the camera. And I got talking to him about the Nova he had and all this stuff, and he filled me in on some things. But great guy, really down to earth.
And he's just one of many, tens of thousands of people that are carving it up at regular bracket tracks every weekend that the mainstream media may never have heard of if he didn't do his live streams and he didn't announce every now and then, or go to something like the World Foot Brake Challenge or what have you. So,
This good people. Now, tell you, how can everybody follow you on Sick the Mag?
Yeah,
that's a trick.
I don't know why you would want to, but okay.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so basically, like I said, my main responsibility outside of talking somehow is taking care of Sick the Mag's editorial stuff. So I handle most of that. But Luke, who does our print magazine, yep, there it is. I was just about to go grab mine, but you beat me to it. Yep. Actually, I'm trying to remember if we have a new one or not. I think you might have the new one.
Yeah, it's 35.
Robert's going to go through his stack.
No, mine's over in the corner, but it's 35 and 6, yeah.
Yep. It's actually got Finnegan's car from Six Smokies, but our new one is almost done. I think Luke just sent it to the publisher. So that'll have Six Smokies in it.
Gotcha.
So Luke, who handles our print magazine, does stuff every now and then. So basically, if you ever want to see my work, 9 times out of 10, it is either on the Sick the Magazine actual business page that's on Facebook, and then I also handle a lot of the stuff that we take care of on the Sick the Mag group. But you'll see my name in there, like Luke will post, and then our awesome graphics guy and illustrator Garrett Olson, who does all our shirts and everything, he posts on there as well. For the most part, I don't really post a whole lot on social media just because I'm doing all that stuff. I don't really do a whole lot beyond that. I mean, I need to get better at it. But if you want to follow me beyond that, the best place to find me is I'm on Instagram as the Derek Putnam, and I'm also on Facebook as Derek Putnam, and it's pretty easy to pick out a guy wearing this hat with a green Nova as the background. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I like how you said, you should be able to pick me out. So that makes sense. So
I'm not the only Derek Putnam.
You're right.
But there is no doppelganger of me, thank goodness.
Brandon would add a comment to that right now.
I'm sure he's probably thought of at least 3 or 4 of them.
Oh yeah, he's right now. His finger is twitching. I know. He is. But he's probably like, oh, okay. Yeah. But no, I thought Brandon got on with something else. But I tell you, we encourage everybody. I'm planning on coming down, if not Monday, Friday, because of my work schedule. And the same thing with Mitchell. We intend on coming down and covering at least one day. And we encourage everybody to get out to go, if you're anywhere near this track or this route for Sick Week, to come out. And if you've never done it, but you're interested in it, we encourage you to look into doing the ride-alongs for the other street events around Sick Ward. Is great. The last time I went, last year I should say, I saw people loading up 5 or 6 people deep in a 65 Pontiac 4-door. You know what I mean? And just had coolers hanging out or whatever like that. And they had, in Sick Ward, and they had a wonderful time. I met a couple that flew down from Canada, rented a car just to follow Rich Guido. Is that his general? The Chuck Norris.
Richard Guido. Yep.
Just to follow him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's another long hauler right there. I think him and the other gentleman with the Oldsmobile, I don't know if they actually cross paths and caravan together or not. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember which one of them drives longer. I do know that it's relatively close depending on where they're going and where they started from. But I was actually digging through my notes to see if I could find it, and I couldn't. But Richard Guido has done almost every single drag and drive with, I want to say, his 84-year-old father now.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that. I know his father
Yep.
rode with him a lot, but I didn't know each one.
Yep. So, and consider the fact that that is a 521 cubic inch Pontiac powered 6-speed full weight over 4,000 pound GTO, and it is
Yes.
a legit 65 GTO. So,
And there's nothing like following him on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, where he is driving to the event and he has a
Through the
pulled over
snow
at a
and
gas
stuff,
station
yeah.
with snow, has it jacked up on the front end, replacing a ball joint or something. You know what I mean? Fixing it just to get to the event, to compete at the event before going home.
Yep.
Amazing.
That is honestly probably the best thing. It is literally, for those of you that have never bracket raced before, it is the extension of what I call the bracket racing family. Whenever anybody breaks, it's the thumbs up, I'm good, I've got it figured out. It's thumbs down, everybody pulls over to help you fix it. It doesn't
Yes.
matter if they're competing with you in your class or it's somebody that's never met you before. It's everybody's going to pull over and help. I mean, I've got photos from years past where Guido's yanking a transmission out of his car. We've got him in Arizona with cacti in the back where he's yanking the whole rear end out of his car to go get welded and so forth, where a guy showed up with a welder in the back of a pickup truck. You know, I mean, these are the kind of things that really do, you know, because nobody talks about the, you know, hey, I had salad for lunch today. Do you remember that one time we welded a car on the side of the road in, you know, Arizona and whatever? It's like, yep.
Yeah, it sounds a whole lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
does. So,
Oh yeah,
But-
and it
but-
found tin cans all around and patched the exhaust up and charge tubes and everything. Oh
well,
yeah,
absolutely. But Robert, to add on to what you said, the other thing, again, I cannot reinforce this enough. If you ever wanted to get out and try a drag and drive, SIGTA Magazine does actually have a separate section that I take care of on our site. It's called the event listing. And it basically lists everything in chronological order from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And it'll take you directly to either their website or their event page. So you can go on there right now. There's 48 events listed, and you can go through it and you can click on them and find where you want them. Basically, they're listed by date, the name of the event, and where the starting racetrack is. So again, anywhere from Ontario, Canada to Australia and Sweden, they're all listed there. And as we find more, we'll populate them with more. But they're all there now. So again, you can go to sigtamagazine.com, click on events, and you'll find a drag and drive calendar listed. You can go there and find one near you, or find one that you can hit during the year and take in a day or the whole thing. But we will be in Gainesville for 4 days starting tomorrow. And then we go to South Georgia on Tuesday. Wednesday is a drive day for the first time ever. We'll be at Bradenton Thursday, Orlando Speed World Friday, and back in Gainesville for February 7th on Saturday to finish it all off.
Now, just real quick before we let you go, I know you're busy. Could you talk a little bit about the sponsors?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Because, you know, they're very important. We don't want to skip out on them.
Correct.
So since the beginning of us doing this, we have had some people that have jumped on board and been part of this ever since we started the first one in 2022. One of the main guys who is the presenting sponsor and has been since we started of Sick Week is Gear Vendors Overdrive. They have actually been involved in the drag and drive community since 2007, just a couple years after the whole thing started. They actually choose 2 of our events, as I think they only do 3, possibly 4 a year, where the top 3 people get special Gear Vendors guitars if you finish top 3 overall.
Oh wow.
So in addition to, you're competing for a Sick Week helmet, which doesn't happen anywhere else. You can't call Race Quip and ask for an orange helmet in our shade, let alone with it all stickered and lettered up. So, but then the other cool thing is that you can actually win a Gear Vendors guitar. And one of the guys that's going for the 5s this year, Brian Goldstone, has enough of those that he could probably start his own band. I think he probably has. I think he has between 5 and 7 right now on guitars. It's crazy. So
Yeah. Wow.
So Gear Vendors Overdrive is the big sponsor. Some of the other guys that have been on board with us since the very beginning include Motion Raceworks. Doug Cook and his gang are great people. Iski Racing Cams. Nolan, unfortunately, will not be with us this year. He had an accident with a ladder. Him and a ladder had a disagreement. Yeah. So he is. He will unfortunately not be with us this year. But they've been a big part of us. Mickey Thompson Tire, Summit Racing Equipment, and Peak Performance. They've all been with us since the beginning. Mickey Thompson Tires actually brings an entire trailer full of tires as well as tire changing equipment and so forth to be able to put stuff together for us. Summit and Peak are co-sponsors of Sick Ward. Obviously, that is a huge part of the event, which is why we're glad to have them involved. The only other company that has been on board with us since the beginning that I want to call out specifically at the first part is VP Racing Fuels. The other thing that Tom put together is VP shows up with a semi full of racing fuel at the beginning of Sick Week and Sick Summer. So that way competitors don't have to worry about will they have this? Will they have that? What if this racetrack sells out of it? That's all taken care of. So all those great sponsors. And then in addition to that, Driven Racing Oil has jumped on board with us. They are actually the sponsor of Michigan Miles this year. Edelbrock jumped on board with us 2 years ago. They are the sponsor of 666, and they will also be on site for Sick Week. Smokey's Garage, which was one of the photos I sent you, they're bringing a couple of really cool cars to participate in. A 1948 Pontiac Torpedo and a 2015 Drag Pack Challenger. It's an actual VIN numbered one, but they are bringing those two cars to participate. I don't know if they're participating or if they're doing Sick Ward with them. I'd have to wait until we get to that point.
It's extreme.
Was that one particular car at PRI?
Yes, and their Torpedo has competed with us before, and he had a that's excess power batteries, and that's Brian Goldstone. So the Torpedo is the one that is going through the mountains with the trees in the background. It's like a hot rod black color. So,
wow. What a combination of cars to bring, right?
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Melling Performance, they're a Michigan-based company. We actually got a chance to visit their facility where they put everything together. They are actually on board with us full-time this year. They will have a booth there. Delta Pag, which does a whole bunch with cooling and everything. John at Delta Pag has been on board since the beginning. TBM Brakes, that's another company that Doug Cook and his board from Motion Raceworks is in. They will be on board. NOS, Nitrous Oxide Systems, will be on board again this year. They will be topping off all Nitrous Racers bottles every single day for free. So that's something that they do for the Nitrous Racers. RaceQuip, who provides us all the helmets that we give away. We basically order white helmets from them. We get them painted special sick orange, and we do them all up. So RaceQuip has been on board with us since the beginning. This year, we have also been lucky enough to add in excess power batteries, which is the photo that you just saw from Brian Goldstone's car from PRI from 2024. AFCO Racing Products is back on board. And CRC, which does a lot with engine chemicals and cleaners and so forth. They're probably most well known for having the red and white and the green and white brake cleaner cans that you see.
Boy, you're running out of breath there with all those people that you're involved with.
I had to make sure I snagged them all. I missed one. Precision Turbo. They will be back too. So we got a whole bunch. We could not, trust me when I tell you, we could not do this without them. And it takes a very special sponsor to understand why we do things the way we do things here. Because as you just held up the copy of Sick the Magazine print edition, there's less than 10 pages of ads in that. And it's a 212-page magazine. So it's very hard to sit there and tell people, hey, we only use this little tiny small number of advertising pages, which means they need to understand that we're going to do our best to help them out when they jump on board and do an event with us. Xanapod. Yep.
But I mean, just an example, page to page color.
That's one of the things that Tom talked about. Again, he participated in Dragon Drives for 10 years before he ever did the magazine and started it his own. And he said, what happened to magazines we used to be able to read back in the day where they had more content, more photos, and granted, even if they were in black and white.
Right.
But what happened to more of that and less of the advertisements? Well, if you're going to put a magazine out there where you're paying $12 a year for a subscription, the money has to come from somewhere. It's not coming from paying that amount of money to get a magazine mailed to you. You're already losing money when you're sending it through the mail. So anyway.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And all your marketing partners that you're working with, you have them on display through here. You're not, I mean, you don't exclude them at all, but you can definitely,
Correct.
you can not only see articles of different people using your products, but also the events, showing the events. You see their products on display just systematically through the different pictures and photos that you provide. So companies can see it in not only real time through the live feed, but also through different prints and different social media sources. So,
And the things that the racers and the spectators will like is this is not just us signing somebody for the sake of saying, hey, this is a great sponsor, come on out. You know, they signed a deal with us and we get to use their money to put an event on. This is somebody whose products we use, we endorse, we've beaten on them, we know that they'll survive, and they want to come out and support us at the event. That is a big deal because as more and more events get sponsors to help them put stuff on, but they don't show up to them, having all these great companies on board is just one more reason that people love to come to an event, is because it's so much that you can do in one day. And getting a chance to interact with those people, like especially Driven Racing Oil, it's a great example. When they first came on board with us 2 years ago, they didn't have any idea about how drag and drive was going to affect how an oil worked and how it broke down and how well it lasted and so forth. And from dealing with lots of great people, like Rovec, for example, is one of their people that's on their team. They were able to look at it and say, okay, there's some things we're going to change up specifically for solid lifter camshafts or cars that see a lot of road miles or people that need, more oil pressure, et cetera. These are why they keep coming out with new products. And in addition to that, just like Mickey Thompson, like VP Racing Fuel, Driven has gone from we're coming out and we're displaying, but we're talking to people, to a couple of years ago, I said, hey guys, how about you bring oil out and sell it? And by day 4, they were out of oil. So they're doing it again this year, where if you want oil and you don't want to pay the shipping price, they'll just bring it right to the racetrack, and probably going to be out of it, I'm guessing, by like day 3 or day 4 again.
That's right. That van was empty when I saw it. The first time I saw him, it was packed, just like you said. And the last time I saw it, I joked with him, where's it gone? He's like, we sold it yesterday. It's gone. Yeah. We're just sitting here enjoying ourselves and supporting racers. So that's good. So we encourage everybody to get out there. Like I said, Mitchell and I are planning on getting out there to do a little bit of coverage. Derek, we know you're starting first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah, we open the gates at 9 a.m. for tomorrow, and we'll be testing, I believe, from 2 to 6 tomorrow, because with it being the first of 2 days, we're doing things a little differently this year, where it's a 2-day session. You buy a ticket for both days. We're going to feed you both days. We're going to make sure you get teched in advance, so you don't have to wait till Sunday, so that helps. Similar to years past, we will have an NHRA tech inspector on site, so we can help you with getting your license finalized. If you need to get a car certified. See, these are all the little things that Tom thinks about and goes, somebody's coming off winter. They haven't been able to race for 2 to 4 months. What are they worried about? What do they need in order to be able to compete and finish the week? So we're taking those extra steps. So, yeah, I'll be out there tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. So, again, folks, even though it's private testing, we will be open. If you want to come get a ticket at the gate, you can do so. If you want to buy them in advance, SICMagazine.com, they are available there too. But I hope that everybody comes out and enjoys it, just because it's something different. It'll get you in love with the idea of, let's go to the racetrack and have fun. That's all we're doing. We're going out there and creating memories.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't put a price on it. So that's for sure. But Derek, I tell you, we want to thank you very, very much for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule. And I know you like this rotation because you get to stay home in your own bed. Was it 4 nights out of this event? Okay. Yep. So I mean, hey, that's worth it all right there. I know. But wanted to tell you, thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate everything that you do and everybody there at SICK the Mag, what they do to put on this event for all the spectators and all the racers. So
thanks, guys. I really appreciate you making time in your schedule to go over all this. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. Unfortunately, I had to grab a PA system tonight for the racetrack last minute, so it took a little longer than I thought to get it rented. So again, thanks for everybody that watched. I appreciate you guys making time for me. It really does mean a lot, obviously, because we've all known each other for racing.
Oh yeah.
And look forward to seeing you guys out at the track sometime along the week. And it's been great. It's always good talking with you.
Absolutely, my friend. We appreciate it, Derek, and we hope wish you and your family a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Get some rest.
Yeah, try to get some rest. See how that works out.
Yeah.
Derek's like, rest is fertile.
Yeah. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
That's what we all say, right?
Yeah. Thanks,
All
guys.
Right. All right, Derek. Take care, buddy.
Take care.
See ya.
I tell you what, we're going to take a little commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages, and we'll close down the show.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
With more than 30 years of engine and drivetrain experience, Big Stuff is your one-stop total power management solution. Whether you're controlling a 600 horsepower street car and want the best drivability, or have a 6,000 horsepower race car, need the most foolproof, reliable control hardware, Big Stuff can do it all. All of our components are designed and manufactured right here in the USA, including our computers, wiring harnesses, touchscreen displays, and more. Nothing is built offshore, and we take pride in being one of the only automotive aftermarket manufacturers that can say this. Learn more at bigstuff3efi.com or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram for more information.
I tell you what, Robert, it's always great to have Derek joining us. I tell everyone he's like a walk encyclopedia.
Yes.
I mean, just a broad acknowledgement that he's gathered over the years, racing, being in the industry, worked at National Parts Depot for years. It's just awesome to have him on, and I know SICK the Mag, they really value having him on their team.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, event winner, track champion, Division II champion, in the bracket finals has been, I think he went to Pomona that year to represent Division II. And he's won Super Chevy shows. He's won many events. So he's very, very accomplished as a racer also. Not only that, but obviously behind the mic and promoting in the way that he is. Yes, he's very, very knowledgeable. I dare somebody to ask him details on mid-'80s up Mustangs. You will definitely learn something about specific details and nuance and stuff from when he was working at National Parts Depot and what he was involved with, amongst other things. But I'm just saying those for example. And you're right. And Derek is good people. He really is. He cares for the racer. He cares for the track and cares for the people that he's working for. He tries to represent the racer and the company as best as he can.
Yeah, I tell you what, Derek. See.
No, I am not Derek. There's only one.
Well, I see him in the corner of my eye in the green room, so that's why I said that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Robert, I tell you what, it's been a great show, and I tell you what, we have another one coming up on Thursday, and I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Wait a minute. Wait, which one is it? I don't have my calendar in front of me.
You don't have your calendar?
No. That's what I meant to get. No, don't we? Wait,
Want me to give you a clue?
Yeah, please. Because don't we have one Tuesday?
IHRA?
Ah, yes. We have the head tech man from IHRA coming in.
See, I put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did. You really did. The name, everything's escaping me because it's sitting in a room and I'm thinking about
Isn't it
somebody
Josh?
else. It is Josh. Okay, I'll be right back. You have to hold on. Hold the fort.
Hey, I called him that he wasn't he didn't have all his information in front of him. But anyway, yeah, we're going to have Josh coming on with IHRA tech director, and it's going to go over some of the classes and some of the rules, and uh, and how they tech cars for their national events.
Okay. Okay. We are now back. Yes, it is Josh of IHRA coming in on next Thursday, but don't you have somebody you're bringing in on Tuesday?
Is it this Tuesday?
Yes, it is this Tuesday.
No, it was next Tuesday.
You told me the 3rd.
Oh, is it Becca for ARCA?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, so we'll have our second ARCA driver on Tuesday, and then we'll have Josh on with IHRA on Thursday.
Boy, yeah. You see, that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever we work full time, we're extremely busy, and we're booking people and talking to people. It gets kind of chaotic, and at times we have people at different days who don't realize it.
The month of February is going to be kind of crazy. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We got podcasts going on. We got to keep up with Daytona, with all their classes that they're running there. We got South Georgia coming up. We got the last Winter Series race down in Bradenton coming up next following weekend. After that's the Gator Nationals, and then the Baby Gators, and it just keeps on rolling.
Oh yes, we are extremely busy, and actually, we don't have enough PTOs to go do everything that we want to do, and events available. Everything from, like you said, from drag and drive events to everything IHRA has, which is amazing. From whether it be in their Powerboat Association, their Round Track Association, drag racing, then of course NHRA, Southeast Gassers, the foot brake racing, the top bulb racing, the bottom bulb racing. There is something for everybody. Not to mention back of the track. And I was right. It is Josh Hamming. I didn't want to mispronounce his last name. I wanted to check it. It's Josh Hamming, the head tech director for IHRA, is coming on next Thursday. We're going to talk about, like I said, everything obviously technical in IHRA, but what's going on with it. You see, he came over from NHRA to IHRA, so he's been around the professional ranks and everything involved with it. So it's going to be an interesting talk.
Well, especially with their announcement today with Pro Stock.
Oh, yes. We know some people that's going to find that really interesting. IHRA is where NHRA has obviously Pro Stock, they have FX, and they have Factory Stock Shootout. Okay, and IHRA, they have Mountain Motor Pro Stocks, which, as the name sounds, large displacement, naturally aspirated Pro Stocks. Then they're going to take the Factory Stock Shootout Series, which competes in IHRA, and they're changing the name to Pro Stock. Okay, same rules, change it to Pro Stock, and it is a lot of races. It's the full 8 plus, I think, a couple extras for them. So we know several people that run the Factory Stock Shootout Series and competed on the NHRA side and IHRA, and they'll definitely be competing in it this year.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people put their cars up there for a little while, and they're sitting in garages, and this will give them the opportunity to bring them back out and compete on that national stage.
Now, also speaking of that, it was brought to our attention this past week that actually the Hemi Shootout, which NHRA has been doing through the year, okay, but Indy being the biggest one. That's $10,000 a win. They usually have the shootout, they call it the shootout, which is down in Louisiana, and they also have one at the Maple Grove event, the Dutch Classic. And sometimes there's a fourth one in there some places. Well, this past year they had those events, but this year IHRA was doing heads up and having shootouts at a couple of their events that they had for the Hemi cars with a good turnout. This year they're having a 4-race series. Okay, $10,000 to win each race. Okay, now of course they're going to have winner, runner-up, broken down some, but $10,000 to win at each race of the 4 races, and a point system with the winner getting, I don't know if it's 70,000 for the entire purse for the point system, or if it's 70,000 to the winner. But it's a substantial purse for the winner of the point series. So there is a lot of people that I heard that's coming out that have some of their cars in hibernation now, and they're definitely going to follow IHRA as much as they can. It's definitely putting a fire under people.
It's a chunk of change.
It is. I mean, a 1968 Hemi car, a competitive Hemi car, is a pro stocker with a 68 shell on it. It really is. I mean, they're high tech, they're very fine tuned, and they have everything state of the art in them in a 1968 shell. But that's the thing that makes them so great, is the same cars, whether it's a Dart or a Cuda, exact same build, exact same engines, carburetors, everything, exact same platform. And the competition is tight. So looking forward to that this year also.
Yep. So I just want to let everybody know, please tune back in next Tuesday, not just Thursday, but tune in on Tuesday as well, as we have our second ARCA racer coming on. And I tell you, it's going to be great right before they hit the track at Daytona. You know, it's
Absolutely.
right around the corner. But also, if you're watching tonight, please follow us on Facebook. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Spotify and also Kick. So
and Instagram.
Kick and Instagram. Yeah, so we're
Yes.
trying to cover all the bases. But yeah, we'll love you to join us and actually join and subscribe on everything. You know, it's not just
Absolutely.
one.
We're trying to pick up our YouTube channel, so we need everybody to go over there and subscribe. We're getting closer to our initial tier that we want to get to. And we also want to thank the people that help us, including Redline Synthetic Oil, which Mitchell and I both use. Okay, Mickey Thompson. I was going to say Mickey Thompson. Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Scorpion Racing Products.
Yeah, we use them.
Yeah, we do use Mickey Thompson. I just literally just gapped it right there.
I got a pair sitting right here in the room, waiting to go on, be mounted to these rims sitting over here in the corner.
I got a new pair sitting in the garage to put on the car, so I'm with you on there. But Scorpion Racing Products, we want to thank them very much for coming on. They're racers themselves, and they support racers and tracks, including Gainesville and South Georgia. But also we want to thank Big Stuff Fuel Injection for coming on this year. They have a wonderful product which has something for everybody. And they got some really, really, really cool new products. You need to go back and look at our videos that we did at PRI to show some of the things that they offer. It's really good. So we're looking forward to getting more into their equipment for sure. Really looking forward to that. But I want to tell everybody, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And like Mitchell said, we'll look forward to seeing everybody next Tuesday night.
Yep. And don't forget, if you're near one of these tracks for Sick Week, go fill the stands.
Absolutely. Come on out and cheer for your driver. Have a good night.